Alright, so this is going to be my review of Moon Knight, The Midnight Mission, by Jed MacKay, with art by Alessandro Cappuccio, I hope I say that name right, and Rochelle Rosenberg. This is the first volume of the new Moon Knight series that is coming from that has been out from Marvel. If you're wondering, hey, Multi, how are you reviewing a comic so fast? You just did the Berserker review yesterday. Did you really go through another comic that fast? And to answer your question, I did. Reason being is because I only get... Okay, needlessly pointless fact about me. I only read comics when I'm using the bathroom. That's the only time I ever get to, sit down and read them. Have time, I'm just gonna read this while I do my business. And yesterday I ate food from work, which if you've seen this channel, you've been on this channel long enough, you've probably guessed from just the shirts I wear. I have 3 of them. It's not like I'm wearing the same shirt over and over again, of where I work. And it turns out their food does not agree with me. So let's just say I got some heavy reading done in the time frame. Anyway, too much information. Got it. Anyway, so let's get down to business and talk about Moon Knight: The Midnight Mission. So there is a bit of context with this comic. This is set shortly after the events of Jason Aaron's Avengers run, called a story arc called The Age of Khonshu, which, for lack of a better word, it's kind of like Moon Knight Tower of Babel, except Moon Knight is taking out the Avengers one by one, but also Khonshu wants to rule the world and he wins. Now, this is the stipulation, is he was under Khonshu's influence. Khonshu is locked up by the Asgardians at this point, and Moon Knight has been allowed not to go to jail, but has a required therapist, and now is now more or less a detective and a defender of a small part in New York. So that's what Moon Knight... This is... The best way to describe this is Moon Knight Born Again. This is really I feel like Jed MacKay's work is... his run on Moon Knight is not so much the deep psychological trauma that we talked about in Jeff Lemire's run. This is more like Moon Knight on the rebuild. This isn't about Moon Knight's multiple personality disorder. This is more about Moon Knight rebuilding himself, because you gotta understand, the dude just destroyed his whole life, letting Khonshu take over the world, and he did it with no questions asked. And during all this, Moon Knight encounters a new villain who wants to take apart his life. We don't know why. It seems like this new villain called Zodiac just wants to have fun. But the weird thing is, and I'll get to it in a bit, there's a weird connection. Also on top of that, Moon Knight discovers that he has a quote-unquote brother in the form of the other fist of Khonshu, which is called... His name is Dr. Badir, who calls himself the Hunter's Moon. He is the other fist of Khonshu, because his thing is, a god can have 2 hands, therefore he can have 2 fists. So Moon Knight's going through a lot. He is dealing with a lot. I really like this comic because it reminds me a lot of the Charlie Houston run, which was a very cool run during the Civil War era of Moon Knight with David Finch on artwork. It was really cool, and they actually reference it in this comic. This comic is brutal. This is a brutal comic, not just physically violent, and Jed MacKay knows how to do some really bang-up action sequences, let me tell you. But it's also brutal in the sense that it's a brutal look at Moon Knight as a person. Not the multiple personality disorder, because this focuses mainly on Mark Spector. We don't get a lot of the Steven persona or the Jake Lockley persona, but what we do get are persona Mark Spector dealing with just straight up I fucked up. He just fucked up, and now he's trying to rebuild his life essentially in this story. Moon Knight is... I really love the artwork, by the way. I really love the artwork by Cappuccio. It's very, like, I love how they do shadows and sketching in here. Let me find a good, like, picture for you guys to see. Like a real good one. That'll do. Like, look at that. Like, just look at that. It's a very... It does have kind of like an overarching story, but each issue feels like a standalone until the 5th and 6th issue, where it all kind of like builds with the first story arc. Which I will admit, the 6th issue of the end of this 6th issue story arc does feel like it's trying to do a little too much in too little time. Like, I feel like someone told Jed MacKay that this was going to be a miniseries, and they're like, nah, it's going to be an ongoing. And he's like, I wish you fucking told me that, because I feel like... Because it really does feel like that 6th issue really does feel like the end of the story, give or take. But we do know that there is, like, a second volume coming, I think, in August. The issues are still coming out, but I really do feel like this was meant to be a comic that was supposed to be a miniseries, and then they were like, nah, it's an ongoing. And Jed MacKay was like, fucking warn me next time, man! Because that's what it at least feels like. There is some really cool new characters, like Moon Knight now has a gang of people working with him, like Reese, who is a vegan who was turned into a vampire in a pyramid scheme. That's a thing. You also have Soldier, who is a ex-Hydra soldier trying to atone for his sins. There's also Terry. There's a lot to Terry, but he's kind of like the Jimmy Olsen for Moon Knight, for lack of a better word. We also have, like I said, Dr. Badir, the Hunter's Moon, who is essentially like he's basically telling Mark that you are broken. You know, I don't like you, but I have to work with you because we are, like, we serve the same God. Like, so I'm going to tolerate you, and I'm a doctor, and I'm going to fix you to be a proper Fist of Khonshu. As for, like I said, Soldier, who is an ex-Hydra operative, and we also have Tigra. Tigra's in this comic, and I haven't seen Tigra in a while. I don't think I've seen her since the Mighty Avengers from Dan Slott. She may have appeared in a few other comics, but I haven't seen her in a while. And I like it, too, because Tigra and Moon Knight were part of the West Coast Avengers. And I love this moment where she's like, hey, buddy, it's been a while. Like, she's the first, like, metahuman character to, like, greet him, like, as a friend. Even though, yes, I am 95% sure that what's going to happen is that they're going to reveal Tigra was sent by the Avengers to watch Mark. Like, to watch him, and in case of trouble, like, contact the Avengers or bring him down. And hopefully they won't do the whole, you betrayed me, Tigra, I hate you. It's more like, yeah, I knew what you were doing, I'm not an idiot. I feel like Jed MacKay's writing is going to lead to, like, Mark going, yeah, I know the Avengers sent her to watch me. Like, I'm not an idiot. I'm thankful they did. Because Mark, like I said, this is a very born-again story where Mark is kind of like on the rebuild. Like, he even says, I haven't taken off the mask in days. Like, even weeks. And he also goes into why, like, he is not so much a Fist of Khonshu, but more like he's just a bad person who wants to hurt worse people. I really like that. This really delves into not so much the dissociative identity disorder, which has been done. I don't think, like, it'll be done as good as Jeff Lemire's run, but I do think, however, that this is a nice little comic. Like I said, it's kind of like Moon Knight Born Again, like the first story arc to that. Do I recommend Moon Knight? Do I recommend Moon Knight: The Midnight Mission? Absolutely. If you want, like, this comic series is still young, so I'd say I highly recommend this series. Absolutely, 100%. So if you want to get into Moon Knight, there's not, other than the Avengers stuff, there's no other context other than go check it out. So there you go. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of Moon Knight? Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. If you haven't already, hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. Once again, I'd also like to thank Chris. This was part of the comic haul for Mount Vernon Kids sent me this as part of the comic haul. But other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time. in the multiverse.